If you visit Europe during summer, Crimea is a must-visit destination. It is a beautiful place with diverse climate, beaches and landscape. South Shore is the most scenic part of Crimea. Mountain range is located close to the shore and creates this gorgeous view. The views at Faros, where Gorbachev's dacha used to be, can easily compete with views from Hawaii at Napali Coast. These coastal mountains grab moisture from the clouds and irrigate coastal line well, while the rest of the Crimea stays dry. If you go north from South Shore, you will see a drastic change. And some people like this dry part of Crimea because it helps with respiratory diseases. If you come in June, the water will still feel coldish, so you will have to come in August for the most comfortable water temperature. Hello viewers, I just switched to a different microphone. Please let me know which microphone you like more. So getting back to Crimea, it is a land of big changes for the last year. Tourist traffic reduced more than half. It became safer on the streets because new authorities cleaned up some of the crooks. It is still not a tourist-friendly place in Western format. You will not find tourist information centers, you will not find free maps. Also, many signs are translated in English. And often if you see the sign Wi-Fi, it often doesn't work. It is noticeably more police on the streets than before. However, on remote beaches it might take more than an hour for police to come if something happens. Crimea's capital, Simferopol, is usually uncomfortably hot and dry during summer. But in most times you cannot avoid it, as it is a transportation hub for entire peninsula. As the Russian ruble dropped in value almost twice since previous year, it became much cheaper for foreigners to come and shop around out there. Russian people usually rent rooms and apartments directly from locals who are standing on the bus stations and railroad stations. This year you can expect to pay about $15 per room for 2-3 people. However, last year, because ruble was more expensive, it was about $30. Please expect that dollar price might fluctuate because of the exchange rate. If you see any number in this video, you feel free to call because locals are open for pre-booking. However, have a backup plan because all these arrangements are non-guaranteed. Locals can always get somebody who pays more. If you're a student-type person, you can get hostel as little as $3. This much this particular hostel costs in the capital of Crimea, which is located just a couple blocks from Central Railroad Station. Only a few existing hostels are posted on hostels.com. The rest you have to search online. As the change in authority happened, residents had to face a lot of difficulties. All phone numbers had to change from Ukrainian to Russian numbers. Because Ukrainian cellular providers started harassing their customers with unpleasant surprises, many residents had to stand in line to get Russian SIM card. And many resellers ripped off people many times the cost of the SIM card. Majority of residents are happy and satisfied with this change in authority and have big hopes for development of their peninsula. However, there were some who weren't happy with the change, and those flee to the mainland Ukraine. And that is one of the reasons there are less people on the beaches. Public transportation in Crimea is plentiful and cheap for foreigners. The price varies from 10 cents to a couple dollars per ride. However, taxi fees depend on your negotiation skills. During summer, buses have extensive service to almost any direction. But they are not the cheapest way to travel. Trailer buses will be the cheapest. You can get a ride on trailer bus in the city for about 14 cents. And if you want to get from Simferopol to Yalta, it will be about $1.50. Or Alushta, it will be only $1. And time will take about an hour and a half. So you can see the distance. It's about 80 kilometers, or about 50 miles, just for $1. Electrichka is a short-distance local train. It's also very cheap. You can get from Simferopol to Sevastopol for just only $1, and it will take you about an hour to get there. For the same price, you can get from Simferopol to Yevpatoria. It is favorite way of travel for locals because of the price. Car rental prices will vary from $30 to $60 minimum. Most car rental agencies are located at the airport and the center of Simferopol. Buses for the same distance will cost double and a half. If talking about taxi, then when trolley bus costs $1.50, and for the same distance, taxi will cost about $80. But its price can vary, depends how you negotiate. Many of the taxis are crooks. They will lie through their teeth to come up with the reasons why you should pay more for that trip. When you get hungry and you're on the coast, you can easily find a 3-course meal for about $5. In some places you even can get it for $3. These prices I'm stating is the current prices. Last year it was even cheaper. With this change in government from Ukrainian to Russian, people faced many different challenges. Their financial life became much harder. Prices for produce went up. Prices for rental, long-term rental went up. And on top of it, many people lose their jobs because Ukrainian employers, they live in the area. Many Russian businesses are afraid of sanctions because many of them are getting loans from Europe or America. On top of it, much less tourists came this year than comparing to previous year. So there is a lot of uncertainty for local residents, but despite of that, they're still optimistic. Crimea residents are so fed up with the prior Ukrainization of peninsula so that they are ready to sacrifice with everything in order to get away from Ukraine. It's not that they don't like Ukrainians. They're just against forceful implementation of Ukrainian language. There were 70% of ethnic Russians living there, and they were forced to read Ukrainian language, and were harassed for not knowing it. If you decide to go there, there will be some unusual restrictions. For example, if you come from Ukraine to Crimea, then you should not go continuing to Russia, leaving the peninsula, because if you do, then Ukrainian government will consider you violating Ukrainian border without authorization, and you can be deported for about 3 years. They just put a stamp, and next time you come, you cannot come in. The same thing happens when you come from main Russia to Crimea and then trying to continue to Ukraine. This will not work out either, because they will not see as stamp entrance to Ukraine, and they will consider that as violation of Ukrainian border without authorization, and you'll get the deportation stamp. Overall, Crimea became safer and better place for visitors. If you have any suggestion, I'll be happy to see them in the comment area. If you're planning a trip over here, feel free to contact me and I'll be happy to answer your question. If you need, I even can be your interpreter, driver or guide over there, if I can.